Hi, and welcome to Two Tired Teachers.
And right now we are coming at you from my back porch. But we are excited because very soon we are heading to
Utah to the Mighty Five.
And we are actually going to be hitting a couple of extras along the way. And so we just wanted to kind of give you an idea of what we've been doing to prepare for this long trip, and then give you an overview of what we think is going to happen, because it's always fun to see what actually
really
happens. But to get ready, we've done the usual things you would assume. We have...
Well, we did an unusual thing.
And that was?
On our last trip was to Paladura and Caprock Canyons. And on that trip, we saw that the cows were ready to calve, the bison cows. And we asked a ranger, when do they calve? And the ranger said in April. So at the first stop on the trip is going to be Caprock Canyons to see if they have calved yet and if the babies are visible.
Which brings up a couple of points here before we get to that. And one is, if you don't watch our videos as a usual thing, we really don't do a travel vlog as such.
No.
We do not do this full time. We do not live together full time. And so we do more topic related things. And so our travel videos, maybe 3 or 4, 5 months after we've been there, because we really are on vacation while we're there.
Right.
And so before we get to our first stop, we have done a lot of preparing and planning.
Sharon does more, honestly, than I look up things to do once we're there, but she looks up how we're gonna go and what stops we'll make. And for this trip, she has a spreadsheet with probably 4 places we could camp for every stop we're planning to make.
Once again, we just do this because we enjoy being able to go back and look at our videos and stuff. And so we don't have a Two Tired Teachers website. We're not going to pay anything because we're not making anything on YouTube. We're just doing this because we enjoy doing it. We like sharing what we learn and do. And but I'll give you a glimpse of that. But, you know, we've done the things getting the van ready for a trip with the oil change, the tire rotation, things like that.
Getting the bikes ready.
We took the bikes in.
And had them serviced. They have 1,600 miles on them, and they needed to be serviced.
They needed to be cleaned
up.
Yeah, really cleaned. We've ridden a number of trailways, and those, you know, I've cleaned the chains and things as best I could, but it really made a difference.
Yes.
And so we've gotten things really together that way. We have, like she mentioned, this spreadsheet. And one of the things that we are going to do, like she said, our first stop is going to be Caprock Canyons State Park. We have reservations at our first stop and at the last real destination
before we come home.
And that is the North Rim of the Grand Canyon.
Yes.
And we did that, and that is actually what has set the dates for this trip.
We had hoped to take this trip a couple of weeks earlier.
Yeah, 2 weeks earlier was our plan, but then we found out the North Rim of the Grand Canyon does not open until May 15th. And I got to tell you a brief story, and that is, my understanding is the North Rim of the Grand Canyon did not open last year of 2020, to the best of my knowledge. They were having trouble with their water at the North Rim, and so then when COVID hit, they just basically did away. So their website had been saying, hold that for a second, we actually just hit on this trip late January, early February, somewhere around in there, and the website said you can make reservations up to 6 months in advance. But you couldn't. They still hadn't opened the reservation system because it had been completely shut down. I'm assuming that was the reason. But we kept watching that, and then like she said, we went to Caprock Canyons and Paladura Canyon. We're gone for a week and a half or so, And during that time, they opened the reservation system.
And it filled.
And so there is some dispersed camping outside of that.
A lot, really.
But we wanted to stay in that campground. And so we have 2 nights. They're not in the same campsite. So we're going to be moving between campsites within the Grand Canyon North Rim, but that's okay. We're okay with that. But we are going to be traveling our first day, 266 miles to get from our home to Caprock Canyon. We're going to make a video about the overnight stops that we have as we go out and as we come back.
Yes.
That'll probably be at the end, so there's not a spoiler alert or anything along the way. But those early days, we want to be our long days.
That's when we're most excited about going, and we're not tired yet.
But we will definitely unhitch, because our goal while we're there is to see bison. And preferably the babies. We were there in June once before, and it was just amazing to see this herd of cows and calves.
And it was a herd.
We have been to Caprock Canyons twice, and every day that we've been there, we stayed a couple of nights, both times, or 3 nights, we've seen bison. And so we're not going to get on the road exceptionally early the next morning, but with sunrise being earlier, we will get on the road by 9.
Yes.
And our longest day is the next day. And most people who RV would not attempt this. As kids, we drove from Texas to California every other year. It was to visit relatives. We were gone 2 weeks, spent 1 night in a hotel because we had relatives. But we're used to that long drive. The next day, our goal is to get to the metropolis of Cuba, actually past Cuba, New Mexico. And that will be 458 miles. We have made a day like that when we were towing a 5th wheel.
Yes.
And so we know we can, and the other reason that we really feel that we'll be able to do that is because
we gain an hour.
Right, going from Texas to New Mexico, we're going to gain an hour. And so leaving Caprock Canyons at 9 is actually like leaving there at 8. If it's 9 hours, that puts us in there by 5.
Yeah.
And we're going to be in a parking lot, so we're not that, excited about getting there early. We hope to get to Cuba, New Mexico, and we're going to tell you about where we're staying in just a second. We're hoping to get there early enough because as you're going into Cuba, New Mexico from the south, there is the Santa Fe National Forest Ranger Station.
We would like to stop there. There is a good chance we're going to travel back to New Mexico during the summer sometime to get away from the Texas heat.
And
we want to get in the mountains of New Mexico.
We'd like to have information about, we're old school, like holding our information. I'm going to be downloading a copy of all the research I've done just so I have it in my hand while we're traveling. But we're going to be staying, and we're going to, in that video about overnight stops that you see at the end, we're going to be talking about kind of overnight stop etiquette. This is a casino travel center that is our goal. We actually called there to make sure, with the COVID information on their website, it looked like they were closed some. Marlena called to make sure that they still do allow RVs, and she was told it's a gravel parking lot.
We did not expect hookups. If they have hookups, they're probably going to charge, but we didn't expect hookups. Folks, part of our etiquette is we're not telling anybody to go gamble when you're in there. You either will or you won't, but if you don't go gamble, go in that travel lodge and
if they have a cafeteria,
if you need gas there.
That was the thing we looked at here. That it's a gas station along with the casino and stuff. So we definitely will fill up with gas there. If there is a
little store, convenience store.
If there's a convenience store, or sometimes
they'll have a coffee shop.
Yeah, casinos will have like a coffee shop. You can do takeout from there or something. But in some way, you want to patronize the places that you stay at. When we leave there, it's going to be a 244-mile day of driving, so it's not going to be a short drive.
But it's not going to be the
killer
400.
day, yeah. But we're going to spend at least a couple of nights probably on an abandoned airstrip. It's BLM now. And so we're going to spend a couple of nights there, rest up a little bit. And because this is so early in the trip, we're certain what days of the week we're going to be there.
Yes.
Our next stop will be Canyonlands, and the campground that's actually in the national park, the southern part, the Needles entrance, has 14 first come first served sites. So even though we would probably like to crash at Natural Bridges for a few days longer, we're going to go on and try and get into this campground that has 14 first come first served sites.
They're not free sites. It is a campground. The sites are $20. Fortunately, I just turned 62 and I will have a senior lifetime pass, and so it'll be $10 for us.
And so for $10, we would gladly pay that to have a campsite inside of a national park. And so that's our goal, is we're going to get there on Thursday morning. And that's where we're going to crash. We're going to be there over the weekend and just have that as our spot where we really just take our time and recharge our batteries. And the other thing that allows us to is to avoid Arches over the weekend. And Arches, from what we understand, is one of the most popular of that and Zion, I think, are the two most popular. So we don't want to be at Arches over the weekend. From where we are staying, it's going to be just 92 miles to go to Arches. And once again, there are a number of choices of dispersed camping, and I've already done the research that we believe there's a dump station in the campground we're going to be staying at Canyonlands, but if there's not, there's a dump station as we go through Moab where we can dump and fill up with water and then go out to the dispersed camping there. We're going to have several choices. Depending, we very well may head back to Moab to use that dump station once more before we head to Capital Reef. And it's 144 miles, and we have, and whenever I say the dispersed, what we've done is we've gone on to, usually Camp Indium is the one we go to. There are RV Camping, there are a lot of different ones out there, but what I like is on Camp Indium, I can click on the GPS coordinates. It will bring up an image. I can do the satellite view of Google Earth. I can see kind of what those roads look like, and a lot of times drop the little guy down, look around to see what's the entrance to this place look like, and things like that. And Mylena is the one that then goes back. I've listed the places that I would like for us to stay based on those things. She then goes in, reads the reviews of what people are saying, and that's kind of how we choose.
Yes.
Then bottom line is, if we get there and either one of us says, not sure we want to stay here, we don't stay.
There are too many to choose from.
And so anyway, Capital Reef, there are a number of dispersed locations that are really close to the entrance. And so from Arches there is 144 miles. And then after we are and we're going to be making videos about the national parks, and probably just have a separate video about the dispersed camping or the camping place, campgrounds, wherever we're staying. But from there, we will be going to Bryce. And our goal there is once again to try and get into a first come, first served campground that's run by the National Forest Service. And it will be 123 miles to get to Bryce. And once again, we're going to be there, get there on, depending. I mean, we're flexible. We're not sticking to but we do try and plan. We don't necessarily want to try and show up at a dispersed or a first come, first served near a weekend.
No.
And so that's why we have a Google Calendar where we put out this is what we think will happen at this point, but we're going to have to kind of wait and see.
And we kind of firmed it up from where we first started planning. It's
And the reason we do the Google Calendar is because, for all of this stuff, is we can each log in, look at it, and make suggestions, changes, whatever. But from Bryce, we then will be going down to Zion, which is just 83 miles, and there's a dispersed camping. It's not as close as the others are. It's like 15 miles from Zion National Park, and that one...
Zion's one I'm really looking forward to having the bikes for. Zion is one of the most popular, one of the most visited national parks in the system, and they, at some point, they will shut off car travel, and you have to take a shuttle if you're going very far in. Well, we will park our bikes. I mean, we'll park and
The
then
van,
get
yeah.
out the bikes and be able to ride on all the roads that the shuttle goes.
And so that's really what we got the bikes for, was so we could do that at
Grand
Canyon Village,
South, yeah,
where we had reservations in the spring of 2020, and it was closed. Everything was canceled. And so, yeah, we are really looking forward to that. And how long we stay at each of these, like we said, it's going to depend what we feel like.
But we know we can't get to the Grand Canyon before the 15th.
And so we will be leaving Zion, going to the North Rim, and it is just 110 miles from Zion to the North Rim of the Grand Canyon. And that's actually much closer than it is than going from Grand Canyon Village in the south around to the north. And so this is something we both had really wanted to do. And honestly, the reason I considered that was because once when I was looking at how to get to the North Rim from the South Rim, I saw Zion National Park was right there. I thought, okay, well, if we're ever in that area. And so we are really looking forward to that. There are a number of dispersed camping options outside of North Rim. So our goal is to get to the North Rim a little bit early, 2 or 3 days earlier than our reservations.
Yes.
Do dispersed camping for a couple of nights there, and then go in for our 2 nights in the actual campground there. When we leave there, we then, we've talked about, is it the destination or is it the journey? Well, from Central Texas, it has to be a lot about the destination, or else we'd never get anywhere to see the things we want to see. But the journey part is going back to Caprock Canyons to see the baby bison.
Yes.
Well, kind of the same thing. On our way home,
Yes.
we're going to have some long drive days, but we're adding a couple of things along the way. And one is, when we leave the North Rim of the Grand Canyon, our next stop will be
Painted Desert Petrified. Oh, it will be, Winslow, Arizona.
It's 255 miles.
And it's such a sight to see.
Yes, it is. But the visitor center there, from what we've read, some reviews even earlier this spring, that they still allow overnight parking there in the visitor center. And so we'll be spending the night. And that is because...
And we plan on taking it easy, too.
Yes, we do. We may even stand on the corner there in Winslow, Arizona. But if you're young, you won't get that.
That's okay.
That's okay. But
listen to some Eagles music, you might.
But if from we really want to go and a national park that you can have an RV that's there's just not that much.
Yes.
Oh, sorry, the dog kicked the camera. But is Painted Desert Petrified Forest.
We'd been there when we were kids.
But we definitely want to make a stop on our way back.
Yes.
We're going to be driving right there. And so Winslow, Arizona is one of the last easy stops west of Painted Desert Petrified Forest. And so it's the next morning, we'll sleep in, do whatever we want. We get up and we drive an hour to Painted Desert Petrified Forest and look and see and enjoy exploring that area however long we want to. And once again, these are all our our plans. We're not saying it's going to happen that way. But then as we, when we leave there, we had a choice to make. Our goal was to kind of balance out these drive days on the way home.
Yes.
We have much shorter days on our way home because we're tired.
Yes.
We're old, we get tired. Yeah, we want to get home, but we don't want to push ourselves. And so we also don't want to hit Albuquerque at rush hour.
Oh no.
That's something we really didn't want to do. So we will take our time at Winslow, getting up and doing whatever we want to do, go to Painted Desert, hang out, whatever. From Winslow, it's 214 miles to Casablanca, New Mexico, which is a little town that's just west of Albuquerque. And once again, there is a casino that allows overnight parking. And so, once again, we'll either do takeout for breakfast, we will
If
fill
they've got
up
a
with gas,
station,
we'll do
yeah.
something like that. And then from there, we're going to be heading to and we'll leave there at a time, hopefully right, so that we hit Albuquerque right after morning rush hour. And we're going to the metropolis. We just hit all these big cities.
Yes.
Of Muleshoe, Texas. And that's going to be just as we come into Texas. But there's a place, Ray and Donna West have an RV park that is free and it has hookups. And so this is one of those places that if there is
a donation
box or something, you definitely want to donate. But the reason we're doing that is because from the casino at Casablanca, it's 305 miles. So that's going to be a long enough day. We're going to be ready to sleep and rest and just take it easy, even though we're not in Winslow, Arizona anymore. But that's the halfway point home.
Yes.
So we will get there and then we will get home. Now, something you noticed, and we'll mention this again, we didn't mention we're staying at a Walmart or a Cracker Barrel or anything. We have nothing against those places.
We've stayed there before. Love them.
If we were staying in a town that was large enough to have one, if that fit our schedule of where we were going, we would love to. Yeah, we've stayed in some Walmarts and they're fine. They're great. They have great lighting, things like that. But it just didn't happen this time that's going to be there. But we plan to be gone almost exactly a month.
Right.
And we've seen, some people that said they hit all 5 parks in a week. That's not the pace we choose to travel.
And if you have to do that due to work or whatever, more power to you. You're younger than we are.
Definitely. But we are so excited about this. And so while we plan on being gone for a month, the videos that we take and put together
won't come out until we're home.
And they may take us 3 or 4 months to share all of that with you. And once again, not doing this full time, it's that preparation, it's that planning, it's the excitement of going on vacation. So anyway, this is going to be one of those long extended vacations. And it's super exciting and we are looking forward to it. And this is the plan. And as you go with us through this journey, you'll see, hey, we're flexible. We may have some changes along the way, and that's fine. We're good with that. All we know is we've got to start at Caprock. We've got that start date, and and that was another thing I was going to say is if we get to North Rim of Grand Canyon and it's like, you know what, I didn't see everything I wanted to see at Bryce or Zion. Yeah. We can go back there.
Yes.
And so we are going to take our time at these others, and if we need to change that calendar a little bit, that's fine because we know we're just 2 hours back to Bryce or Zion area, and so we can easily go back and see more of that if we need to. So It's going to be interesting and fun to see how it plays out, and we are excited, and we hope you join us on our journey. Thanks for watching Two Tired Teachers.